Welcome back to day 5 of the SoulFed challenge. I'm Dr. Andrea Christian Parks. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you are here and you missed the earlier ones and you just kind of like, oh, I'm jumping in right here, that's okay. Go back and get all 5 days, but I'm glad you're here today. So today I wanted to talk about satisfied. What does it mean to be satisfied? It's really, really important that not only do we wait for hunger. Remember a couple of classes ago, I talked about the Israelites out in the desert following God by the cloud during the day and the pillar of fire at night. They needed both. They didn't need to be only following during the day and then not following at night. They didn't need to only follow at night and not follow during the day. God put two important signals in our bodies to tell us specifically based on how active we are, how sedentary we are, what our real needs are. There are so many hormones and signals, and the body is amazingly complex. God built all of that. It makes 100% sense to me. There's not one way to eat, one diet, one whatever that works for every single person. And even if there's some ways of eating that are healthier than others, which is true, how much and how often to eat is completely individual. And if we can dial in to what signals God has got for us specifically, then our bodies do what they're designed to do. But what I do and how often I eat, how much I eat is not exactly what you need. And the only way to find exactly what you need is to be trusting the Spirit to speak in you and listen for the hungers, for the signal for hunger, and listen for the quiet voice that says, that's enough, and stop eating. So I want to talk about the other side of eating, which is waiting, which is stopping when you're full. If a lot of this challenge we've been working on, waiting for hunger, finding out what physical hunger feels like, looking for that. But also, it's like yin and yang. You can't have one without the other. You've got to have both working together. So you must be able to stop when you're full. It does very little good for you to wait and wait and wait and wait and realize I'm physically hungry and then stuff yourself. Here's what happens if you do that. This is what I would see in my clients. They would wait and they would work on the skill of waiting for hunger, and they would find hunger and they would identify physical hunger and they would go, I got it. And I waited. And then when they ate, it's almost as though they were trying to make up for the meal they missed, or make up for the snacks they didn't have, or get it all in one meal. And what would happen is the weight loss would just kind of not happen. They wouldn't necessarily gain weight, although you can. If you consistently overeat, even if you eat fewer times, you can gain weight. But mostly what would happen is people would just sort of not lose any more weight. They just sort of stagnate. And that's what happens when you overeat. If you go from hunger to hunger and you eat enough to be satisfied and then you stop, what you'll notice is that depending on what you eat, you may have a little up and down with the scale. You're going down consistently because you're going from signal to signal that God has given you about when to eat. He knows exactly how much that is. So I want to talk about being satisfied. The scripture that we're looking at today is in Matthew 5, verse 6. And it says, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied." Now, you know I'm about context, so I am not saying that this scripture is about eating. This scripture is about righteousness, and those of us who really want very badly to be right with God, He promises we will be satisfied. And I think it's the same principle with food. If what we are doing is looking for satisfaction, but the way we're getting it is not by grabbing whatever we want, eating when other people eat because we want to have what they have, or whatever sort of pattern you've used in the past to guide your eating. If what we're looking for now is, God, when do you say to eat and when do you say to stop? He promises we will be satisfied when we're seeking his way. And I think that's so comforting, because we can often feel like, well, I'm not going to get what I want. I'm not going to get what I need. But God says, no. I will satisfy you. There's a scripture that says, open your mouth wide and I will fill it. I know y'all know that one too. So this is what is really important. Wait for hunger, but stopping at satisfied, not stuffed, not overfed. We know that scripture too, right? Overfed and unconcerned. We're not going for that. We're going for just enough that is satisfying us. So I want to talk about that a little bit. How do you get there? A couple things. Being mindful, very mindful of what you're doing. Don't get distracted. Don't watch TV and eat. Don't read, a book. Scroll through your phone in between bites. Don't do that. You'll be amazed at how fast you get bored of eating when you're not distracting yourself with something else, when you're not entertaining yourself with something else. If you have waited to eat, this is your chance to eat. Don't miss it. Don't get distracted and doing other things. Stop. Pay attention. Eat. Chew. Taste. Experience. Slowly. Don't rush through it. You waited hours, probably, to be able to eat. Why are we trying to shovel it in 5 minutes? Don't need to do that. So I want you to aim for, like I mentioned in the last video, 80%. That is a good target. 80% full, not 100% full, is what you're going for. It is very easy to overshoot. Very easy, especially if you're eating too fast. So what you want to do is check in. As you're eating, you're taking a bite, you might put your fork down. You might have a sip of water. You might take a couple of breaths. You're going to chew. You're going to experience the taste. You're going to enjoy it. You will notice something very interesting. If you are focused and paying attention, when you start the meal and you're physically hungry, the food will taste amazing. It will taste so good. Don't miss it, because the first probably 3 bites of your meal are going to taste the best the whole meal will taste. So pick the best looking bites first. All this, I save the best for last nonsense. Don't do that. Don't do that. Eat the very best first, because if you don't, you're going to be chasing the best taste at the end when your taste buds sensitivity is actually dialed down because you're not hungry anymore. So you're wasting your time and you're putting more food in and you're chasing it. You ever do that at Thanksgiving where oh my gosh, the mac and cheese is so good. Oh my God. And you taste it and you're like, whoa, it's so good. And then you finish it and you're like, oh. And it's almost like you were in a conversation or whatever and you weren't paying attention and you just were shoveling it. And then I was like, ooh, I want some more. So you go get more and you're chasing that first taste. And it never quite gets there, but you're still eating it, still looking for it, picking around, trying to find the crispy, crunchy piece, the cheese that has the brown edge to it, whatever. Eat that first and don't miss it, because that is the best it will ever taste. The end of the meal, it will not taste as good. It just can't. Your body has already decided it's full and it's dialed down the sensitivity on your taste buds, so you will not keep eating. I actually want you to stop. So if you slow down and you've enjoyed the first few bites and you're feeling like you got the best out of the meal as it is, all you're doing from there on is trying to figure out how much more do I need to just get to 80%? How do I just get to that level? If you get to 60% and you're like, I think I want a little something sweet, 70%, and you're like, I just want to taste something sweet. That's another good signal that you're at the end of your meal. If your body says, I just want a little something to top it off, like you have, you want a couple pieces of pineapple or a couple of M&Ms or something where you just like, I just want a little sweet. Okay, stop the meal at that point and just have your little sweet. That'll get you to 80% and you're done. Okay, but do not rush because you'll miss it. Okay. If you are still snacking despite eating, let's say you're doing a great job waiting for hunger, you're only eating to about 80% and you're still snacking. Why? Because there's a couple of options. You might actually not be eating quite enough at your meals. If every couple of hours you're hungry, maybe you need to adjust the content of your meals. Maybe you're getting too many simple carbohydrates that are breaking down really fast. Maybe maybe you need a little fat, maybe you need a little piece of avocado. It doesn't take much. One slice of avocado might be enough to make your meal last a little longer. So if it's okay to get hungry again, that is not a problem. But if you're finding that you're getting hungry quickly, there may be something that needs to be adjusted in the content of the food. So the other option, if you're still snacking, is you're still finding emotional needs that are coming up and the snacking is filling them. So that's the same work. This is not a one and done kind of situation. This is a practice. This is a spiritual discipline to follow God in the way that he's trying to take you to go in how you eat. So do not expect yourself to have this perfect the first go round, but do know that this skill gets better and better the more you practice it. The more times you surrender to God, I will eat when I'm hungry, and I will not eat if I'm not hungry. I will find other ways to meet my emotional needs. I will find other ways to meet my spiritual needs. The better you will get at this. The closer you will follow God. You'll be just stepping right in his footsteps, right behind him, just going one after the other, trying to watch where he's taking you instead of trying to meet your own needs. Okay, and that is the whole point of this exercise. The weight loss, really nice side effect. So keep going that way. And what I want you to do for me now is I want you to write down your biggest takeaway. What's the thing that really stuck with you? The thing that really helped you to stay on track? The thing that you went, I wasn't doing that. I've never done that. Or I really want to do that better because I already know what I do normally and I want to do something more aligned with God, more connected with God. Okay? Now, this is the last day of the challenge, but it is not the end of the help. Okay? There's a couple options you have to keep getting this sort of support and guidance and community. One, if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Get on there. Hit the subscribe, hit the notifications so you don't miss this sort of support. You got crazy, busy, all kinds of things going on. This is the kind of work that helps you navigate through your crazy, busy life and keep your connection with the Lord through the very basic challenge of staying in alignment with your body and the spirit at the same time. So get subscribed and hit your notifications. What else? If you have been here with me for a minute, you already know you're like, oh, I'm doing it, but I need help. I need help. I can't do this by myself. Not a problem. I'm here. Get on my website, www.drandreachristianparks.com, and there is a little button at the top across the top of the website that says calendar. Go ahead up there, hit the calendar, make your consultation, and let's decide if we want to work together. I can help you make this the way you live and get the weight off. Okay? So go ahead and make your consultation. Let's work together and let's get this moving in your life. Okay? I'm so glad you were here. I'm so glad you were part of this challenge. I want to hear what you got out of it. Tell me about it. Send me an email, make a comment, whatever you want to do to share with me. I want to hear about it. Okay? I'm glad you were here. I will see you on the regular channel. I'll see you for the next challenge too. I'm sure there's one coming up. I promise you. I'll see you soon.